Ah, Puffy Combs, Puffy Combs, Puffy Combs. Man, Puffy Combs. Sean Puffy Combs, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Puffy Combs. Mm, mm, mm. Now, the reason I say and I mentioned Sean Puffy Combs is because Sean Puffy Combs failed to note out a couple of things. And what did he fail to note? He failed to note that, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, Puffy decided to be proactive and go at corporate business, right? How many of y'all heard or saw that? Put together this whole corporate list talking about if you love us, pay us. A letter from Sean Combs to corporate America. Oh my goodness. He used Desmond Tutu's writing, saying, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. And he basically believes that the same feet these companies use to stand with us in solidarity are the same feet they're using to stand on your neck. Mm-hmm. Now, they're saying when confronted by the leaders of several black owned media companies, General Motors listed Revolt as a black owned media and it supports. That it supports, right? While Revolt does not receive advertising revenue from General Motors. Our relationship is not an example of success. Instead, Revolt, just like other black owned media companies, fight for crumbs while General Motors make billions of dollars each year from the black community. Exposing General Motors' historic refusal to fairly invest in black owned media is not an assassination of character, it's exposing the General Motors and many other advertisers have always treated us. No longer can corporate America manipulate our community into believing that incremental progress is an acceptable action. Corporations like General Motors have exploited our culture, undermined our power, and excluded black entrepreneurs from participating in the value created by black consumers. In 2019, that brand spent $239 billion dollars on advertisement. Less than 1% of that was invested in black owned media companies. Out of roughly $3 billion dollars, General Motors spent more on advertising. We estimate about $10 million dollars was invested into black owned media. Only $10 million dollars out of $3 billion dollars. Like the rest of corporate America, General Motors is telling us to sit down and shut up and be happy with what you get. It's disrespectful that black owned media companies only represent 1% of the total advertising market. It's disrespectful, but the distributors refuse to carry black owned media brands in an era where our impact and influence is undeniable. It's disrespectful that the same community that represents 14% of the population and spends over $1.4 trillion dollars annually is still the most economically undervalued and underserved at every level. To repeat, 1.4 trillion dollars annually, the almighty black dollar. So we demand that corporate America reinvest an equitable percentage of what you take from our community back into our community. If the black community represents 15% of your revenue, black owned media should receive at least 15% of advertising spent. Makes sense, right? The same way you understand the power of the dollars, we understand our power to take them away from any corporation that doesn't give us the economic inclusion we deserve. We are prepared to weaponize our dollars. If you love us, pay us. Not a token investment, not a charity check or donation. The time is now. For radical change is the only option. You either with us or you on the other side. Puffy seemed mad. Puffy seemed like he done lost a comma in his net worth. Puffy mad, y'all. Puffy mad. Puffy mad. But what else is Puffy? 100% correct. But you wasn't saying that when you created Sean John, right? That was supposed to be your company, but it wasn't. Was it? You had partners. You owned a percentage of it. Ciroc. You didn't own Ciroc. Hell, I had a bottle of Ciroc before you even thought or knew who Ciroc was. You made it popular, but they could get rid of you anytime they want. Anytime they felt like it, you could have been out the liquor market. They hired you to get the blacks and get those dollars. And you shook your tail and you danced and you shake. I'ma dance and shake. I'ma dance and shake. Yeah, take that. You shook your booty for corporate America. So it's not like in 2021 or 2019, the African American dollar just came out of nowhere and we just started making the money. They've been making money off of us for many, 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 many years before you came around. The 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, all these years, we had to fight to get what we wanted. We were smarter years ago in the 50s than we're smarter today. We have purposely been dumbed down so that we don't notice these things. Our grandparents knew more in their pinky finger than we knew about the world. We're thinking they behind because they can't program a damn VCR. You don't know how to work the DVD player? That wasn't what it was about. They knew the important thing that a lot of people didn't know. They knew the value of having a trade, knowing how to do things, multiple things, being educated on building, being contractors. Not everybody can rap, not everybody can act, not everybody can be in entertainment and play a sport. They weren't gunning for that. What they were shooting for was to build their families and keep their families strong so their next generation could have what they didn't have. They preached all education. My grandparents, they parents before them, would work 3 jobs just so they would go. They walked to school 8 miles. Imagine walking 8 miles to school to get there, 8 miles back. They didn't complain. It was part of what they had to do. It's what they did. just to go to school. Education was the key. They deprived you of it. Sean Combs, the music business has been corrupt. You have been Clyde Davis' little boy on a string for many years. And whenever you need money or something ain't right, you go shake your booty and here come a check. Why were you speaking these words then? Why are you speaking them today? Oh, because your company didn't get the check it liked from General Motors. So now you're going to get everybody in a storm because it's something that's affecting you personally, your company. So it's not that you're not right, because you're right. It's the fact that you didn't say it and you was on the other side of the track when other black owned businesses were going through this. You shook your booty for John Kerry. Remember that? Vote or die? How did that work out for you? Now, when we look at where we are as a country, where we look at is where we are as people, we got to start waking up and realizing we don't need a celebrity to guide us. We have to have our children educated the right way. Look at all the rappers now. They look flashy. They're $30 million in debt, $10 million in debt. As much as they look like they are balling out of control, they are falling deep in a hole they never can get out of. They're in huge debt. This has been going on for quite some time. So my thing is, they've already had us under control where we have no level of ownership. We have no level but to go through them. And after all these years, we're going backwards. We're going backwards. So you were part of the manipulation of the culture. You were part of it. So don't come in here with all, yo, if you love us, pay us. No. You don't need them to pay you. You need them to want to buy in, to want to support you. If they feel like we could just give you that because we can and give you pennies, you have to make yourself so invaluable that they have to. You have to control your end of distribution. I know Viacom is probably not going to allow that to happen, but you put the pressure on them. You put the iron to the fires. You unite black media and say you're not going to control this outlet on where how far it could go. No, we're going to control that. And if they want to get in, they got to get in the right way. So that's how I feel about it. So hit the like button if you like. I kind of went in a little bit, but yeah, hit the like button if you like. Join the page. My name is Carcino on the Cash App. If you want to support us, we appreciate it. The Patreon is on fire right now. We just had to set ESPN straight on the Patreon. That shocked some people that they didn't know all this was going on under their nose. But now you know, and believe me, they know too. So, so if you didn't get a notification, this is why. uh, I'm out. I'm gonna keep doing the right thing, man. Gotta do it. All right, later.